Hey, it's Chris Garlock from the Labor Radio Podcast Daily. We're proud to be part of the Labor Radio Podcast Network. More than 200 labor radio and podcast shows across the country and around the world. The Labor Radio Podcast Network, where the people speak. Find us at laborradionetwork.org.
You know what? It's been a while since I did this myself, so I think I'm just going to say, hello, working people of Southwest Washington. You're listening to episode 51 of Working to Live in Southwest Washington, produced by the Southwest Washington Central Labor Council, and sponsored by Union Plus's Unions Power America sweepstakes. But more on that in a few minutes. Like the bumper you heard at the top of the show says, we're also a proud member of the Labor Radio Podcast Network, with over 200 radio shows and podcasts for working people just like you. Find out more about the network at laborradionetwork.org. I'm Harold Phillips, and before we get started, we want to remind you that the views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily the views and opinions of the Southwest Washington Central Labor Council, its affiliate unions, our guests' unions or employers, not even Chicago Teachers Union President Stacey Davis Gates.
What I would submit to you is that we're in a moment where everything has to happen. During enslavement, our country's time of tyranny in that way, we had people who went to the courts. You got the Dred Scott decision, right? You had people who staged rebellions. You know about Denmark Vesey and Nat Turner. You had people who created opportunities for liberation. That's how you know Harriet Tubman. That was a period of the word and. We are in a period of the word and. It is absolutely the place of our legal siblings to take cases to the court. And it is also the prerogative of labor leaders to create opportunities to coalesce behind the humanity of workers who are afraid to go to work, of families who are afraid to send their children to schools. It is a time of and.
Nobody's but theirs. Now that we've got that over with, have you been thinking I sound a little rough? Well, you're right. I've been doing a lot of talking over the past 3 days. I just got back from the Washington State Labor Council Convention in Vancouver, where I heard Ms. Davis Gates and several other labor leaders speak. I also got to meet up and work with hundreds of other union members in Washington State's labor movement. I was just one of those union members who, as the stand said, strengthened bonds of solidarity, grew skill sets, and celebrated the powerful resiliency of a movement by and for working people. Now, I could tell you what all that was like, but instead, let me take you to the convention floor so you can hear from some of the other delegates to the convention. Before we get into that, though, I want to take a moment to remind you that we're in the middle of Union Plus's Unions Power America sweepstakes, where union members have the chance to win $40,000 in cash, a dream trip to New York City, and more. Want even better odds at winning the grand prize? Then knock out a few online activities and you can rack up bonus entries in the sweepstakes. Union Plus has been supporting union members for decades by offering them discounts on things like insurance, medical services, travel. Heck, I've even gotten discounts on new tires that someone who isn't in a union wouldn't get. Now Union Plus is giving even more back to union members with its Unions Power America sweepstakes. If you're a member of a union, don't miss your chance. Head over to unionpowerusa.com right now and enter the sweepstakes. And when they ask you about how you heard about the sweepstakes, be sure to click that box marked podcast. There's no purchase necessary, and you can see all the official rules at unionpowerusa.com. Okay, so there was a lot of work done at the convention, but I caught up with a few of the other attendees during breaks in the action to find out what they thought about the convention and about coming to Vancouver for it. I asked them all the same 4 questions, but as you'll hear, I got a lot of different responses.
Hi, I am Ava Claridge. I am from Washington Federation of State Employees, Local 443, and we are located in Olympia, Washington.
So, it's day 2 of the convention. What's the big thing that stands out for you?
Meeting so many people, schmoozing. Listen, the workshops you're going to get what you're going to get from being told how to organize. But you get to meet so many people, you get contacts. If you're like, I don't know how to do this, and you find somebody from the electrician's field, and you're like, oh, this is how wiring works, and this is who I'm going to call, you've made an in. That is what this is about, is talking to people across the state and be like, now I know a guy.
Chuck Pirtle, Washington Federation of State Employees, Local 1181, and also President of Kitsap County Central Labor Council.
And where are you from?
Kitsap County, specifically Postma.
What's the big moment that stands out for you from the convention?
Our really good keynote speakers, both Stacey Davis-Gates from Chicago Teachers Union and then Nia Winston from Unite here this morning. Really fired up the crowd.
Dustin Highsmith. I'm with Smart Local 16, and I am from Vancouver, Washington. I liked some of the trainings and the informational stuff that was going on. It was good to see the governor today. I really got a lot about knowing your rights and dealing with the immigration issues with coming to ICE and in the federal government.
Hi, my name is Simoline. I'm from NALC Branch 79. I am the chair of Washington Young Emerging Labor Leaders, and I'm here from Seattle, Washington. I think we're all talking a lot about immigration. I think that's one of the main topics. There's a lot of excitement. I think we kind of had, in some ways, like a really good, positive year in labor in Washington, even if the rest of the country had a real shit year. Things have been pretty good for us, so we've been celebrating those things, and we've been kind of making connections coming for the next year, and especially as we see more and more attacks against the labor community.
My name is Nate Amdahl, and I'm with the Musicians Association of Seattle, Local 76493. I think the moment that stood out for me the most from the convention was yesterday's panel was pretty interesting, and there's, I forget her name, but the gal that spoke about AI. I think there's a lot of locals, a lot of affiliates that have a stake in AI one way or the other. We certainly do in the musicians, world, and just to hear other perspectives, other new information about legislation is it's still fascinating. So,
my name is Tony Zempel. I'm with Local 302. I'm here representing Northwest Washington CLC.
What's one of the highlights that stood out for you thus far?
Governor.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool speech.
Yeah. So anything in particular really resonate with you?
Oh, just the fact that he's about the working man, and he's not beholden to any big corporation or anything like that. That's pretty cool.
Joe Bond, IBEW Local 48. So far, it's been the keynote speaker, Stacey Davis from Chicago Teachers Union, and she gave a really good speech, had some really good points about the cross-section between labor and social justice, and how when those two intersect, you can make a lot of good progress in society as a whole.
I'm Ryan Andreas. I'm from USW Local 289M, Spokane, Washington.
What's the big thing that stands out for you from the past couple of days?
I would have to say we all have equal problems within our locals and what's going on in the world right now. So it's good to be able to resolve some of those issues at a grassroots level with everybody here. So, yeah.
And you feel like that's happening at convention?
Yes, I do. I've got a lot of good feedback from a lot of other locals and different unions, and we all have similar issues. So,
Rick Deskin, the SAG-AFTRA Seattle local, and I'm from Redmond, Washington.
So a lot of people who listen to this aren't in unions yet. Why should they care about what's happening at the WSLC convention?
Well, because indirectly, anything that unions do impacts non-union workers. So as we are underway with this new administration and how we're at odds with much of the new administration's politics, these are things that are going to help all workers, not just union workers.
This is ground zero for worker protections. And there hasn't been a convention here that I've walked past that hasn't had some anecdotal story about some sort of, if it's not the ones we're used to, wage theft and those kind of issues, it's immigration issues and ICE and work sites being raided, and this is where we strategize on how to defend society against those things.
We're going to be fighting for labor rights, not just for union members, right? We are advocating for policies that affect non-union members. And if you ever wanted to be in a union, guess what? We're also fighting for it to be easier for you to join a union and form a union. And that kind of thing right now is actually extremely difficult. Even in Washington, it's extremely difficult to win a union. We've been watching Starbucks workers fight for years now for something that they should have received a fair contract 2 years ago. So we're still fighting for that, even though they're not currently technically union members,
Because the stronger we are, the better it is for all workers. Anything that we do to get stronger contracts for any of our unions lifts up all workers, raises the average wage for all workers, improves conditions.
They should care because ultimately it will affect them. Unions have a lot of influence on bargaining work and non-bargaining work. And so by us moving labor forward, it moves all labor forward, regardless if you're represented by a union or not.
Well, at the end of the day, the unions, we're always trying to organize and we're trying to bring more people in. My goal is in life is that everybody should be union because it's great health care and it's a great pension. And when you have those two, life becomes easier. You don't have to sweat about bills every month. And I can go on and on the reasons why you should be union, but at the end of the day, you become part of a bigger family than just your household. And when you have that many people standing behind you, it is, first off, let's talk about education. Most of these unions have scholarships for their members' kids. We all have training. One of the things that we preach all the time is training is something that will enhance your career. The more things you're able to do, like I say, I'm an operator, the more things you're trained to run, the more jobs you're available to you, the longer you'll be working during the year. Typically when it starts raining in December and January, operators are sitting home. But if you've got more skills, you'll be working year round. And the kind of money we make and the kind of pension contributions, that makes for a really nice retirement when you're old and gray, And, you hear too many stories about people that haven't been in unions, they're eating refried beans 3 nights a week just to make ends meet, and that breaks my heart. Not that I'm eating steak every night, but I have food in my refrigerator, and I know my retirees, they're all very well off because you get to put 20 years in, 30 years in. We've got guys 40 years in. You got a really good pension, so it makes life comfortable and takes a lot of the stress away.
Well, it's the one point where you will have every union from every line of work in the same room working together towards the same common goal of improving lives for everybody.
Why should people care about what's happening? Resolutions do drive it a lot, and people will say that we're voting on the direction of labor in the country, and that's great. But it's also, you should care because this is the people who are going to be pushing the labor movement, and you want them to be standing up and fighting for you, and you want them to make the best connections, and you want to make sure that you stand for what they're standing for.
One more question. What do you think of Vancouver? How have we treated you?
I enjoy Vancouver. Vancouver's a lovely city, and it's gotten lovelier since I was last here in 2017. So I really appreciate it.
I like it a lot. I have not been here before other than just passing through, and I wish I had a little more time to explore the city. So maybe after convention's over if we're out early enough.
Oh, Vancouver's so nice, and I love it, and the food's great. And I'm very thankful for Vancouver welcoming us to be here. So thank you.
I've seen more of the hotel than I've seen of the city at this point, but we did be able to walk down to the river last night and just chat about, I think it was the resolutions committee. A couple of us went and just kind of chatting about how it all went and what we could or couldn't have done, and just recapping it all. It was a lovely walk and a lovely chat. So
That is a convention, isn't it? You spend a lot of time on the floor, and sometimes you can see the place you're at.
I'm usually, my definition of these cities I visit as well. The hotel was nice.
It's beautiful over here. It's a lot of trees, and it's been a good experience. So I've had a great time. So.
Yeah, our heat wave over here, not exactly like Spokane heat waves, right?
Absolutely not. It's hot over. Well, actually, it's hotter over here right now than it is in Spokane. So.
Oh, dude, seriously. All right, so you got to come into the cool.
Yeah.
Vancouver. Vancouver is an interesting city. It's this. I know it's way up there on population, and people really don't realize that. But Vancouver is a beautiful city, and the waterfront is beautiful.
Now, you live in the area. How does it feel hosting a bunch of union members here in Vancouver?
It actually feels really cool because Vancouver is a union town between all the different industries of shipbuilding, a deep water port, building stuff everywhere. This is a union town, and it feels really good to actually be able to show off our neck of the woods in our little corner of the state.
I love this town. There's a lot of really great stuff going on here, so I think it's great to take them to some of the local hotspots and just introducing them and letting them know what our city is about and what my town's about.
I think it's nice. I like Vancouver.
Well, we want you to come back, so, don't wait for the next convention. Thank you to all the delegates who took a few minutes to talk with me at the Washington State Labor Council Convention in Vancouver this week. And thank you, working people, for joining us on another episode of Working to Live in Southwest Washington, produced by the Southwest Washington Central Labor Council. And folks, the Southwest Washington Central Labor Council agrees with Chuck Pirtle. Anything we do to get stronger contracts for union workers raises the wages and improves conditions for all workers. That's why the Southwest Washington Central Labor Council fights for union contracts throughout our region, including on their own podcast. And that's why this podcast was recorded under a SAG-AFTRA collective bargaining agreement. Remember, working people, this is your show. We want to know what you want to hear on it. Email us at podcast@swwaclc.org. Or find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at SWWACLC. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to the show. And while you're at it, give us 5 stars or pound the gavel onto the podium or whatever your podcast platform of choice gives you to let people know you like what we're doing here. One last thing, folks. You heard a lot of people I interviewed talk about the speakers at the convention. Stacey Davis Gates, for instance, or Governor Ferguson. There were some great speeches. If you couldn't experience them live, you can still head over to tvw.org and watch the recordings of the first and second day's plenary session. I'll put a link in the show notes. But convention is about more than speeches. It's about more than panel discussions and educational workshops. It's about union members from across the state coming together and talking to each other, sharing their stories and their struggles, and helping each other find solutions. These union members, they leave convention with a whole new set of tools and a whole new set of connections throughout the state and throughout the labor movement. to make change and strengthen the situation for every working person in their community, whether they're in a union or not. If you're in a union in Washington or anywhere else, and you haven't been to a state labor federation convention yet, talk to the leaders in your union about what it takes to attend the next one. And if you're not in a union yet, pay attention to what happens at your state labor federation's conventions. The ideas and initiatives that come out of them are bound to make your life better. We'll see you soon.